Now we move on to the review portion of our podcast, where we start off with a review of The Wild Goose Lake, a film we saw at this year's Chicago International Film Festival.
And we thought we'd cover the CIFF thing because no one else does.
So this is a movie directed by Diao Yinan. Am I pronouncing that right or no?
How should I know?
And this was a movie that was selected to compete for the Palme d'Or this year, and it's a Chinese film, Chinese crime drama, about Zhu Zhenong, who is a gentleman, not really, he's a gangster who has been wronged and has made some mistakes and has to, how do I describe it, has to right them, has to make the things that are going wrong in his life right. Basically, he's being wanted.
He has to reconcile with his past.
Yes, his family, the police, some shit's gone down. And
right.
What'd you think of this movie?
Well, if I'm being honest, I thought it was okay. And I say that because I really wanted to like this, especially as my initial reaction leaving the theater. I was like, it was pretty good. But then the more I thought about it, I thought, you know what, it had some problems. And I think you'd agree with me on this because we talked a little after we got out of our showing. The problem is that the second act is the weakest point of the movie, and the first act and the third act are really strong. And I think a lot of that kind of plays out in a way where the first act promises you a different movie than what you get. And I don't mean that in a flattering way.
Yeah.
Because I guess we'll keep it non-spoiler for now. It essentially gives you a pretty straightforward plot, like this is what's going to happen. You know, you have the gangsters, there's a dispute, and they say, here's how we're going to settle the dispute. And you think, oh, this is the movie. And I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. I didn't think that's what this was about at all. But then it turns out, no, it's not about this dispute or this method in which the dispute is solved. It's about that one guy. What's his name again?
Oh, Zhao Zhenong?
Yeah, it's all about Zhao Zhenong's story. It's not about the... I guess I'll leave it at this, and I guess this doesn't give too much away. It's not about the contest that is declared.
Yeah.
It's not about that at all, really. It starts off as that, and that's really a ruse because it's all about Zhao Zhenong.
I compared this when we got out of the theater to Ridley Scott's 2009 Robin Hood, I think. Or 2010 Robin Hood, excuse me. That movie had a similar issue in that the first act was really, really great.
Yeah.
And the third act was really solid, but the middle portion was so meanderingly, not pointless, but just directionless. Like, where are we going with this? What is the point of this scene? Why is this scene here? Why did we have this? Why are we losing direction at this point in the story?
Right.
I thought the main tension was this. What the hell? Because like you said, the beginning is so straightforward. You're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what's going on. I really love this world. I like the way this movie looks. I like the tone.
Right.
It's like sporadically violent, which is really dope. There's like a great scene where like
the fight scene
beating the shit out of people with a U-lock, and I'm like, whoa, is this a martial arts movie? Like, what's going on here?
That was another thing. I thought, if you're going to start a movie, that was not just a regular gritty crime thriller fight scene where you think, oh, okay.
It was like Old Boy.
Yeah.
It was like the fucking hammer fight scene almost,
this
but like
is
for
like
10 seconds.
Exactly. This is a full-blown martial arts scene, and I feel like having that so early in the movie...
It sets a tone.
It felt... Yeah, exactly. I thought, oh, so this is going to be throughout the movie then, right? Not the case. In the second act, there's sporadic, little tiny gunfights and like some people getting beaten up, but not like that. That was very action movie-esque, and it was kind of a matter of the second act, it was a different genre. And that came from focusing on Zhao Zhenong. Yeah. Zhao Zhenong's story. And that's what you were saying. I agree with you about the main plot thread kind of gets lost in the middle. There's a few too many characters. And on top of that, there's those, without giving too much away, there's twins. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm really confused now. I'm like, isn't that guy? Didn't he do this? It's like, what? There's two of them now. What the fuck?
Without super spoiling anything right now, the second act is basically like a not as good, and I mean really, really, really not as good version of The Fugitive second act, where it's like, we gotta go and find him here. Here he is. He's right here. And then he somehow eludes the police and is like, we didn't find him. We gotta go to the next place. Guy goes to the next place. We found him. He's over here. Quick, let's get in the cars and let's go there.
Yeah.
They go there and he's not there. There's like a couple scenes in between where it's like side characters are escorting certain characters around, and it's like fine, but at a certain point you're like, Jesus Christ, this is taking a minute.
Yeah.
Like let's speed this up, guys. And it's just the pacing really slows in the second act. The structure, or not the structure, the direction of the story really kind of gets cloudy in the second act.
That's the other thing. I thought, okay, here was a weird thing too. The second you realize, it's not this dispute settlement. It's not about that. It's just, I mean, it is still kind of, but it's not about
It's more than that.
The second you realize this is Zhao Zhenong's story, even still, that gets lost in the middle. You're like, it's his story. Now, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, there's his wife, and there's a what is it, Bathing Beauty?
The prostitutes.
Yeah, she's a prostitute, and then there's the cops, and there's a bunch of stuff going on, and I understand they're trying to build the world, but I really, really thought that focusing on the side characters and ignoring the sort of the way this movie starts is from his perspective, Zhao Zhenong, and I think that really gets lost, and the movie loses steam as a result because of it.
Right, and not nearly enough Boney M.
Nowhere near. I mean, it's in the movie diegetically, we might add, meaning it's played in the movie for the characters to hear.
Right,
and it's a fun scene, and again, like it actually makes for a really cool visual
that was
moments.
actually, I thought, one of the only really great scenes in the second act.
Yeah, but even then I was like, there's a lot of downtime in there where I'm like, you could have cut this down to being a 3 minute or like 4 minute scene.
Not only that, things get a little confusing because you thought
the blocking. Like that character was there? Oh.
Yeah, but not even the little things like that. I'm talking more the plot elements, because you're wondering like, why the hell is she there? What is she?
Who's helping who?
Yeah, who's helping who?
Is that guy a bad guy?
Who's using what? Who's using you? You can't be a pimp or a prostitute too, as Jack White might say.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was. I was just listening to that song, Icky Thump. Anyway, no, it gets a little muddled within that scene. It turns out kind of cool just because of what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Want to move on to spoilers, I guess?
Yeah, we can do that. So yeah, I kind of it's not really a spoiler, but this is a fugitive man on the run-ish movie. And again, like I just thought okay, so going into the second act, I was actually feeling pretty good because they introduce us to this place, and it's the title of the movie, The Wild Goose Lake.
Right.
And it's kind of just like this lawless, like weird, like Wild West, where it's like
kind of like a resort town, but like a really shady one.
Yeah, it's very weird, and I was cool.
It's kind of like that episode of Always Sunny where they go to the boardwalk of the Jersey Shore.
Yeah. It's
where they think it's going to be all awesome. That's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Florida of China.
Yeah, that's an even better way to put it.
But no, like it's
a
good setup, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is where we're spending the second act, and like we do. But it doesn't we just we get settled into it, and like they don't explore, like they only spend like the first like 2 minutes of the second act saying like this place is really wacky and different, and then it doesn't really feel different from what we've seen until like the very end when we really start to explore like the annals of this place and like we're going through this restaurant and this project or whatever, but I don't know, it's just it's not the best.
All right, so since we're speaking spoilers, I'm talking about, I like the idea of the first act. All right, we're going to do this thing where whoever steals more motorbikes or scooters, gets the territory because there's a dispute and one guy gets shot. And I thought, okay, I love this idea for the movie. That's just who can thief better than who. Mm-hmm. But then they completely go away from that, and it's never used at all, really. Mm-hmm. once it becomes Zhao Zhenong's story.
I expected that because I remember the trailer.
See, I didn't remember the trailer, but even still.
It's like someone's getting their head cut off, and I think I know who it is.
Well, that was a moment I almost wish wasn't in the trailer. As much as that was
it's pretty great.
Seminal moment in making me want to see the movie, it's just... It lost a little impact knowing it's coming.
You know where the movie kind of goes wrong for me in a way is when he gets shot by the guy, or no, the brother gets his head cut off. Zhao Zhenong's brother gets decapitated by the guy that he shoots, the rival gang member, but whatever, rival hoodlum.
Yeah.
And Zhao Zhenong sees this, and then he gets shot by him as well, and Zhao Zhenong's like injured, and he rolls down the hill, and then he like gets up and runs away and randomly shoots a cop.
Well, it's because he couldn't see and he didn't want to take chances. That's how I interpreted it. But at the same time,
I don't have a problem with the event, but I think that's where we go wrong in terms of like, oh, this is a Man on the Run movie now. It's no longer a gangster like, okay, but who gets to thief the best. It's just like, oh, now he's got to be chased by the cops, and now there's a bounty on his head.
Chased by the gangster.
Yeah, now he wants his family to get the money, and
that was the one thing. It's like, give your family the money. How fucking hard is this?
Yeah, I know. It's like, just turn yourself in. It's like, no, I got to do it right. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, just go.
No, he's worried he's just going to get shot no matter what.
Well, you're clearly not like worried about walking around in public, like. Because he's like in that fucking train station, and he's like, what did he say? Like, police don't hang out in public stations. I'm like,
or they don't hang out in this one.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never been to China, but like, wasn't there a cop like when you walked in at the security gate or something?
That's the other thing. There's all these guys tailing him the whole time. Why don't they just shoot him already if they're so close to him?
Like, just walk up to the police precinct wearing that hoodie that you're wearing through the movie or whatever the fuck, and just say like, yeah, I'm Zhao Zhenong. I'm turning myself in.
Right, and another thing, if he's so worried about getting, he's like, I need my family to get the money. Mm-hmm. Couldn't he have just like done that and been like, here, take it, gotta go?
Yeah.
Like if his whole worry is, well, they're just gonna kill me anyway. That was also the other thing that was kind of lost upon me. It's like, does this guy give a shit about being killed or not?
Yeah, you lose a lot in the second act, not just the direction of the story, but the characters as well.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing is, now, as 2019 has proven to us thus far, having shitty people as not necessarily protagonists, but main characters, that's not an issue. Mm-hmm. But in order to have that shitty person, they have to, work as a main character. They need to be really fleshed out. And I felt like Zhao Zhenong was very flat.
Mm-hmm. And the movie, I think, at the very least, understood that in the end, because he does get killed.
Right, and I think the movie was aware enough where it's a tragedy. He doesn't change. So he gets killed.
But it's not a full tragedy in that, in the end, the money does go to his family.
Yeah. I hate that shot where it's like, where are they going? Who cares? Mm-hmm. The family got the money. Don't try and act like this is so like mysterious.
Yeah, and
it did that classic indie movie thing. And then they walked, but you don't know where. It's like, shut the hell up.
They walked away.
Yeah, we get it. They went to the bank. They got the money. The fucking end.
Yeah. I did not feel the relationship at all between Zhao Zhenong and the prostitute.
So there's a part with a fellatio.
Yeah, and it's just really unnecessarily like, ooh, wow, you showed
dirty
this.
Movie.
Ooh,
and then she spits his
spoo.
Yeah, spits his stuff into the water, and I thought. The funny thing I thought about that, it just seems so out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, I remember they're sitting in the boat and they're kind of cuddling up to each other. It seemed more like a platonic way for some reason.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, what is she? I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Undoing the belt buckle. Oh, okay.
And then you see
really out of place.
And then you see the shot and you're like, oh, okay. Jesus.
And you're like, yeah.
I guess I can't tell my mom what I saw tonight.
Yeah.
No, it's just not the, and that again, that's in the second act, and
in the second, okay, so by the midpoint, let's say, there must be a good, I want to say 20 minutes where there's no action scenes at all.
Yeah,
and I thought to myself, why would you have a martial arts style brawl in the beginning? And
to
then,
lead us to this.
Yeah, I thought you could have made that a much more realistic, less stylized fight scene.
Mm-hmm. And it would have been like, all right, I kind of expect this second act then.
Right. It's like a quote unquote fight scene if there are many in a Scorsese movie.
Right.
Or like a fight scene like the fight in fucking Strangers on a Train at the end. It's not it's not like what's his face, like Vance Frawley's what the fuck's his name?
Oh,
not Vance Frawley. That's fucking
Farley Granger.
Yeah, I was thinking of Fred from Fred Mertz from I Love Lucy.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, that guy.
Yes.
Whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Also in Rope.
Yes.
Like it's not like he's like 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, like throwing like perfect. It's just like it's a kind of a grittier, sort of sloppier fight.
Yeah, you don't watch the scene in fucking The Departed when De Niro slams the boot on DiCaprio's hand. This is an action movie.
I was half expecting like Lee Mubai to show up.
Yeah, no.
Tiger and Dragon just like talk about how undisciplined these gangsters are while hitting him with a goddamn branch.
Fucking,
you know what I mean? It's like
Ip Man shows up.
Yeah. Like it was too stylized. Not, and that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. It's just don't fucking lead me on like this is going to be the fucking movie.
Right, I agree.
And then it became more or less the grittier style stuff from that point on, though.
Yeah, the ending has a great sort of
the umbrella.
The umbrella.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a set piecey scene where there's a shootout.
I thought that was all really. Again, that was the third act.
Great.
Really well done. The shootout in the slum.
And then there's like the whole slum sequence, like where he's got to escape and there's cops flooding the area and there's a sequence in a restaurant and it's all very good at the end.
That's one thing I would say this movie did a mostly good job at was they did a good job of bringing the viewer into the world of this movie.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's weird. The place where they went wrong was Goose Lake. Mm-hmm. I felt like number one, we didn't really spend a lot of time there,
and it didn't feel like it. It
kind of was like all over the city.
Yeah,
you know, It was weird that they spent not enough time in the main, or seemingly the main location.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you know what this movie is called in Chinese? Actually,
what's that?
So the actual title of this movie is, if the damn thing will load, A Rendezvous at a Railway Station in the South.
I kind of like that title better.
It's a little bit more like, oh, okay, so this might be a drama.
Yeah, that sounds a little more noir-esque. Mm-hmm. That was the other thing. I thought it was noir-ish. A lot of people were kind of using that word to describe it, and I guess
definitely
the Bathing Beauty was sort of the femme fatale.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, because she's the one who gets him caught at the end, basically. Mm-hmm. But, like, when he gets killed at the end, I'm kind of like, I didn't feel anything at all.
Yeah, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, he kind of sucked. Oh, well.
And in the movie, at the very least, it's like, yeah, we know he sucks, so we'll give you a little bit by giving the wife the money.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
That's like, okay. And I guess the Bathing Beauty is like best buds with them now.
Yeah.
Which she's probably like, I'm getting half. I'm going to shank you if you don't give me. I don't know. I thought it was just okay, but like very flawed, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. It was cool to go, though, because it was great to give something a chance. You know?
It was.
So let's move on to scores. What do you got?
I'd give it a 6. I don't regret watching it at all, but it is because of that second act, because it's so prolonged and directionless. It really suffered for me, though. That first and third act are very solid. Second act was lacking, so 6 out of 10.
I'm gonna go 2.5 out of 5 because I think you just can't have a movie where a second act is where things fall apart to me. That or not fall apart, but you can't do that where. Like, that should be the main crux of your movie. I can forgive endings are tough.
Yeah.
I can forgive a tough ending. Sometimes it takes a while to get started. I can forgive a slow start sometimes. Like Miller's Crossing, I'm not a fan of the beginning. Rest movie's awesome. But I cannot really fully forgive a boring and kind of meandering middle. So 2.5 out of 5 for me, and 6 out of 10 for you. So that'll do it for our review of Glow Stick Shoes Police Force.